So we're going to be talking about blockchain sports. But I want to kind of give a little bit of a background. First of all, is again, this is an opportunity to look at an invitation. It's not like a job you're looking at. It's not an offer to have a business where you're buying and selling products or you're trying to recruit people. This is literally like an investment opportunity. It's something that you can participate by contributing some money into a business that is already being super successful. And once you've done that, you can literally sit back and relax and watch your investment grow. So I just want to make sure that that's totally clear. And the money that we make is 100% passive. So keep being a mum, keep being a grandma, keep being a husband, keep doing what you're doing. Nothing is going to change. This is just something that's kind of exciting. This is literally what you are. You're literally like the sharks in Shark Tank. You're literally sitting back, relaxing, looking at what we're doing and thinking this makes sense to me or it doesn't. And either way is perfectly fine. I'm too old to try and pitch someone or convince anyone. I'm excited about it, but I'm certainly not going to try and convince anyone. But let's kind of have a look at it. I want to kind of set the scene a little bit, just to kind of put your mindset right. I'm going to give you a couple of examples of things that are similar to what we're looking at and seeing if you would have invested in them. If this presentation was about an opportunity for you to invest in a company that was going to compete, for example, with the taxi industry, and that new company would require ordinary people like you and I to use their own car at their own expense and at all times of day or night, go and pick up strangers from their location, anytime, as I say, anytime of the day or night, then drop them at a destination of their choosing, which may be 5 minutes away or maybe hours away, would you have invested in that? It's, taxis have been around for the longest time, but if this was a presentation about an alternative, would you have invested in it? Or just as equally, this is probably your kids right now, by the way, I don't want to scare you. This is probably what's going on in the bedroom right now. Or if I was inviting you to invest in a company that was proposing, again, that regular people rented out their home for like a few days or even weeks. They're going to use your kitchen. They're going to use your swimming pool. They're going to sleep in your beds. They're going to use your bathrooms. Yes, and even use your toilets. Would you have invested in that? And the reason why I bring them up, because you probably recognize both the businesses. I think I would have passed on it. These were about 7 years ago. I think I would have passed them, but obviously you'll recognize the first one, that's Uber. Obviously Uber completely transformed taxis. I use a taxi every now and again, but now Uber's around. I use it all the time. But if I'm honest, I would not have invested in them. I wouldn't have got it. But they're now a $144 billion company. Obviously, the other one was Airbnb, 98 billion. They're now the 152nd largest company in the world. And I probably would have passed on both these opportunities. And I say that because both of these companies had their success because of technology, right? Because 10 years ago they couldn't have done this, but technology comes along and all of a sudden an app on your phone and you can get a taxi or you can get a hotel, or be the taxi or be the hotel easily. Don't worry, most people would have passed on it. I wouldn't have seen the opportunity. Most people wouldn't have seen the opportunity because they both seem kind of ridiculous. But more importantly, the reason why we wouldn't have seen the opportunity is because we never got invited to look. I was never invited to the Uber meeting. I was never invited to the Airbnb meeting. That was literally a privilege for the big financial institutions, the billionaires, the Silicon Valley billionaires, and we never got invited to that meeting. And that's the point. You are invited here today. This time it is your turn to be the shark, to be in Shark Tank, to look at this and see if it's something that you're interested in, because we're talking about the sports industry and it dwarfs the taxi industry. It dwarfs the Airbnb industry, and we've got the opportunity to be those investors. So again, sit back, relax, and I'll just show you what it's all about and see if it's something that you'd like to participate in. So I'm going to kind of start like from the very, very beginning. On September the 1st, 2024, so in what, 3 months, 3.5 months, whatever it is, Sports are going to change forever. And that sounds dramatic, because it is, because literally like taxis that have been around for what, thousands of years, from not just cars, obviously there were horse and carriage before that, and been around for a long, long time. All of a sudden it changed when Uber came along, where now people could be their own taxi driver. Again, Airbnb. Sports are about to change, and everything's going to change, and it's the big granddaddy of an industry that's going to change. Again, just like the Uber industry changed everything, Airbnb, Audible, Udemy, Spotify changed the music industry, Netflix got rid of Blockbuster, and completely changed Hollywood. These are disruptive industries, and you hear that word a lot, disruption. And where there is disruption, there is an awful lot of money to be made. All of these companies have been extremely successful, and it is happening. It's happening across many, many, many different industries. And again, sports is obviously one of the biggest one. We're talking about blockchain sports. It is going to be disrupting all of sports, and starting with football. And when I say football, I mean my football, not your football. Our football is a round ball. You call it soccer. But we're starting with that because it's by far the biggest sport in the world. 3.5 billion people who are not just kind of interested. They're fanatical. They're really, really interested in what's going on, which again, when you compare that to Uber, people aren't fanatical about getting picked up or dropped off by a car. Maybe they're fanatical about going on vacation to an Airbnb. But again, this is a huge industry, and people are very passionate about it. Again, Lisa introduced me. Again, my name is Richard Laidler. I've been very fortunate to be part of this organization for now 3+ years. Since January 2002, I participated. I'm one of over 250,000 people. They're all part of this organization. And again, I've been right there, right from the very beginning, and we're going to touch on that in just a second. Yeah, I've been part of Limitless and blockchain sports. And I'll explain what Limitless is in just a second. We're going to be talking about money, so there's always a disclaimer. So Lisa's got a copy of this. Michael's got a copy of this. And if not, take a screenshot. This will be part of your due diligence if it's something you want to do. We've just got to have a disclaimer there because we're talking about money. But before we do, let's just kind of establish what blockchain sports and Limitless are and how they work together. So blockchain sports is, again, launching on September the 1st. And in order to do that, they need to raise 1.2 billion. And Limitless, which is us, we're a big community, and we are the exclusive source for those funds. And as founders, as the people who are contributing those funds, we get to receive substantial rewards, just as if we were shareholders in a business and earning dividends. It's very financially beneficial to us. So this is blockchain sports, and I want to just mention this isn't our first run. As Lisa was saying, there was a project before. We were raising money for a company called Endotech. We were raising 500 million. That was a target to raise. And we actually raised 660 million using a crowdfunding model. And again, this is the Limitless community. It was an extremely successful project. It closed on February the 21st, so 2-3 months ago. It closed to new people, but everybody who participated in that has been making money for the past 3 years, and we will all continue to make money 2, 3, 5, 10 years into the future, because we were the contributors to the funds that they needed, and their company was called Endotech, to go public. So we've already got a track record. And by the way, that 660 million that we raised is actually the world record crowdfund ever to be done. The biggest crowdfund before us was 120 million. So we 5x'd it. We're literally the biggest crowdfunding organization in the world. So we've got a track record. And what's also interesting is Endotech was our first project. Blockchain sports is our second one. We're going to go into that in a second. But this blockchain sports project will also close for us shortly as well. This is everything we do is we just raise the funds for these projects, and then we move on to the next one. We don't stay with our projects. We just become founders in them and earn on them for years to come. But we move on to the next project, the next project. The next one's going to be in Las Vegas on August the 17th. Is going to be launched because the deadline for us to become a founder in blockchain sports is August the 16th. And so if this is something you like, you don't only have to participate in blockchain sports, you can participate in the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one. And you'll have this kind of like diverse portfolio of businesses that you are passive founders in and earning passive residual income on an ongoing basis. So it's kind of like a really good kind of investment plan for the future as well. So pretty exciting stuff. And I just want to kind of touch on that timeline again. As you can see, September the 1st is when blockchain sports is going to launch. As you can see, it was launched to us, Limitless, the crowdfunders, on February the 21st. It actually started back in August the 22nd. They had private money coming in, angel and investors, 30 million was raised to get them started. But when they wanted the serious money, the 1.2 billion, that was on February the 21st when the last project ended, right? We were in Dubai. It was launched to us. And we now have 6 months to raise 1.2 billion. And you can see where we are right now. We're past halfway, August the 16th. That's it. They have found the founders and they're done. And blockchain sports will get on with their business. We'll move on to the next project and we'll be earning from this business. So hopefully that gives you some kind of idea. Now, this is the video.
Welcome to this comprehensive presentation on blockchain sports, a groundbreaking project poised to transform the sports industry and revolutionize the integration of technology into the entire sports world. Today, we proudly introduce Blockchain Sports, a decentralized technology platform and Web3 team set to make waves in the sports industry. The inaugural project begins with the world's #1 sport, football. If you choose to become a founding member, you will share in the success of the entire roadmap, not just the success of the football project launching on September 1st. As a brand partner, you can be involved in actual sports clubs and academies, all future technology developments, reality TV shows and live events, players' contracts, and, of course, the digital rewards from Blockchain Sports' very own modular Layer 1 blockchain, Atleta. Just as Uber was far more than just another app, Blockchain Sports has the potential to be far more than just another blockchain. It brings unimaginable innovation and value to athletes, fans, and teams with projects like decentralized funding for clubs to acquire young players, breakthroughs in AI for scouting, virtual reality systems for training and gaming, transparent data analytics, sports science, and health technologies, and, of course, the limitless spectrum of decentralized applications that third-party teams will be developing on the platform. Blockchain Sports bridges the gap between the sports and digital worlds, solving important problems for both. It has the capacity to own a strong share of the existing $500 billion sports industry and, at the same time, create a whole new ocean in the infinite economy of digital assets. Blockchain Sports has the potential to become a multi-billion-dollar unicorn company, both on and off the field. While the roadmap expands into all sports and many technology categories, Blockchain Sports is making its debut on September 1st in the world's #1 sport, football, with a decentralized funding model for clubs to acquire players through fan sponsorship. This first project alone has enormous capacity, considering that player transfer revenue in 2023 increased by 35% to over $10 billion for the first time in history. The journey of Blockchain Sports has already been marked by significant milestones of success, as well as undeniable examples of courageous and visionary leadership. 18 months have been invested in the development of an unprecedented digital platform, including a powerful multi-layer blockchain. $30 million in private investments has been executed. Phase 1 construction of a world-class football academy in Brazil is completed. Multiple disruptive technology companies and football clubs have been acquired, and strategic partnerships have been aligned at the highest levels. A dream team of over 300 Web3 technology experts, led by CEO Dmitry Saxonov, has captured the industry's attention. Football legends, academies, and clubs from around the world are collaborating with us. The inaugural project that Blockchain Sports is launching in the football industry is truly significant because it addresses two critical issues in the #1 sport in the world. Firstly, providing football clubs with improved access to capital for raising young talent. And secondly, facilitating the rapid advancement of a young athlete's career. Let's explore the 4 key elements behind just the first project, which reveals how big this team is thinking. The first element in the Blockchain Sports ecosystem empowers football clubs and their academies by providing decentralized access to funds for investing in young players. This includes training, development, and launching them into their professional careers. This decentralized funding model has the potential to democratize football. While Blockchain Sports is implementing this model within their own football franchise, clubs from anywhere in the world have the same access and are already lining up. The second element introduces the EVM-compatible blockchain and Web3 platform. By digitizing these young players, fans have the opportunity to sponsor young talent through smart contracts, NFTs, and the interactive marketplace. These aspiring young athletes get their first contract with the club, while fans receive an NFT representing their portion of the sponsorship. This NFT enables them to closely follow the player's journey, claim financial rewards, and even sell the NFT as the player's value appreciates. The third element is the promotion of these young athletes from training to playing live matches, elevating their market value, providing professional experience, and facilitating a smooth transition into top-level contracts. This synergy benefits both the players and the clubs. The fourth element centers around fans who sponsor a player. Participating sponsors will share in the proceeds when that player advances to a new club, facilitated through smart contracts linked to their NFTs. This includes a standard image rights contract with every transfer, accounting for 50% of the transfer value. As fans support young players, they can earn from the advancement of their careers. As for the roadmap, while it all starts with football, Blockchain Sports has ambitious plans to expand into every sport globally and unlock endless technology verticals within the digital platform, all built on its own blockchain. Of course, scaling its very own sports franchise is a major highlight as well. Thanks again to the strategic partnership between Limitless and Blockchain Sports, you now have the opportunity to become a founding member and brand partner through our exclusive Founders Packages. As a founder, you are the foundation of the entire project and will enjoy lifetime royalties from Blockchain Sports. When you become a founder and choose your Founders Package, you are fulfilling 2 important roles for Blockchain Sports. First, you are an exclusive owner of the Founders Nodes, which is the computational hardware and software that supports the entire blockchain. And second, you are a brand partner, helping to promote the Blockchain Sports projects to the public after the crowdfunding phase ends on September 1st. As a node owner, you are the foundation of the digital platform and will participate in the minting of 100% of the initial circulating supply of the native Atla coin and in the validation of all transactions on the Athleta blockchain, giving you daily rewards. Each level of Founders Packs gives you access to additional categories within the roadmap and additional nodes. In summary, Blockchain Sports is set to redefine both the sports industry and blockchain technology. And that mission cannot be reached without the right people and partners. We invite you to join this extraordinary journey by becoming a founding member. Together, we'll shape the future of the sports industry and blockchain technology.
The reason for showing that video more than anything else is to show the credibility of the company. This is very, very well established. We're already an enormous organization. 6 months or 3 months before we're launching, we've got over 1,000 programmers. And the great thing about watching that video is you can see just how impressive the company is already. But I'm going to kind of give you the high level overview of what Blockchain Sports is. And it's basically an ecosystem. And what it is Blockchain Sports basically brings real world sports. And obviously, as I said, we're starting with football or soccer into the digital world. You hear about Obviously, artificial intelligence, that's the big buzzword right now. You may or may not have heard of blockchain, but blockchain is where cryptocurrency lives. All of this is kind of like the latest, greatest technology. 25 years ago, it was all about the internet, right? If somebody had said to you in 1997, well, Google that, you'll be like, what are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about, because it was right at the very beginning. That's what's going on here. This whole blockchain, the whole artificial intelligence arena is happening, but we're right at the very beginning. And it's where the digital world and the real world are kind of coming together to kind of make this new sports world. And it's kind of exciting. So, as I say, we're starting with football. And I just want to kind of talk about what comprises or what makes up the ecosystem. I'm showing here 8 parts of the ecosystem. There's actually 24 different parts of this ecosystem. I'm just going to kind of show you the main ones, and I'm going to cover them real quick. But this first one, as you can see up at 12 o'clock there, is the academies. Blockchain Sports is building academies all over the world. The first 3 that are being built, and actually phase 1 is completed down in Brazil. And these academies are being built not only there, but throughout the rest of South America. They're already breaking ground in Japan. We're building them in Europe. We're building them in Africa, Australasia, and obviously up in North America. But these academies are really kind of cutting edge. Currently, phase 1, they're like about 5 to 6 soccer fields, training facilities, so basically the training facilities right now, but they're going to progress to phase 2 and phase 3. By the time they get to phase 3, they are literally mini cities. There'll be 400 hectares. They'll have a 10,000-seater stadium. That image you can see in that little circle is actually a 5-star hotel with an Olympic-sized swimming pool. These cities or these academies, as I say, are going to be built all over the world. And the purpose of these academies is to attract all the best football talent from around the world. And here's an idea of what the soccer stadium is going to look like. All those buildings in the background there. There's going to be like a press conference. There's going to be living facilities there. So we're attracting all of these kids from around the world. And we know that they're going to be the best players in the world. And I'll cover why we know that in just a second. But when we take on these kids, we take on mum and dad as well. The whole family is coming to these academies. And then these academies are going to give these kids first of all, we're going to recruit the best ones, and we're going to turn them into the best professional footballers out there. And that's what these academies are all about. And as I say, they're going to be all over the world, and they're extremely impressive. Here's actually this is like a 30-second video to kind of give some idea of what these academies are going to be like.
That is the place where things started to happen. The things that are destined to change the future of world sport forever. Today in Acopiara, in the area of 42 hectares, you can find the construction of one of the most modern and technologically advanced football academies in the world. The Blockchain Sports Ecosystem Academy. An international team of architects, designers, and builders are working to create the best conditions for young players to live and train. The futuristic sports complex includes educational institutions, football fields, foot volley playing area, stadium, medical center, Olympic-sized swimming pool, gym, and even restaurant complex with helipads.
Okay, so it's real quick, but it kind of gives you an idea of what they're all about. And as I say, these are already being built. As you can see here, 8 football fields, volleyball courts, 10,000 spectator stadium, business center, medical center, Olympic-sized swimming pool. There's a police station. There's a school. There's a fire station. There's also there's a school and a cinema there. These things are literally going to be cities, and they'll be dedicated to football, and again, built all across the world. This is truly an absolutely massive project, and it's just one part of the ecosystem. The other part of the ecosystem, of course, is the players that we attract. And these will be the best of the best talent from around the world, from the inner cities. Once we recruit these players, We know that they're going to be the best of the best. And I'll explain why in just a second. But here's what's important about these players. This is the first part of the disruption. Let's use an American football team for the moment. So currently, if a team takes on a new player, like Jerry Jones for the Cowboys, owns, for example, I'm showing my age here, Troy Aikman, right? Jerry Jones and the Cowboys owns Troy Aikman. The spectators don't get to touch Troy Aikman. They just get to pay to see him. This is one of the first big disruptions. Our players are going to be what's called tokenized. And what that means is they're going to be divided up into like 1,000 shares. So instead of having one contract with Blockchain Sports, whilst Blockchain Sports are going to own the players, they're going to be broken up into all of these shares that Joe Public, after September the 1st, can go onto a marketplace and can go and buy shares in these players. There could be an 8-year-old player and his shares are maybe $2 because he's very young and he's not shown his talent yet. Or there may be a 16-year-old player and his shares may be $100, $150. But the point is, we can buy these players. We know they're the best of the best. They're in cutting-edge academies, so these players are going to get better and better and better and better. And so there's going to be this whole economy of millions of public buying and selling shares in these players. And this is going to be one of the big disruptions. Again, it's kind of hard to believe right now because at the moment, teams own their players. There used to be just cabs. There used to be just hotels. It's because of the disruption that now, you know, private individuals can use their own cars, private individuals can use their own houses for hotels. And now the spectators who are watching the game can own the players that they're watching. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in just a second. But that is one of the big disruptions as part of what we're talking about here.
This is Dmitry Saxonov, the founder and leader of the Blockchain Sports project. It was he who launched the project and is actively involved in its development. Dmitry always emphasizes that Blockchain Sports ecosystem is a project with a global social mission. To give a chance to children from all over the world. How can young footballers become a part of the global Blockchain Sports ecosystem? It is enough to pass the selection and sign a contract with the company. Selection is a part of the Tempo de Football social program, organized by the scouting agency Triumph, led by Davi Freire, Tobias Guilherme, Andre Vasconcelos, supported by the Ministry of Sports of Ceará, which has allocated more than 500 football fields throughout the state. Each young participant undergoes a comprehensive training program under the gentle and professional guidance. Professional scouts work with students of the academy, coaches with real experience of current athletes. In addition to that, there are teachers, psychologists, nutritionists, and others. Much time has passed since the students of the academy started the trainings, but they have already shown good results by taking prizes in football championships. Entering the academy is only the beginning of a long and difficult journey into the world of big football. High demands are placed on the students. To become the best, you need to work hard and be tough on yourself. Every day, juniors prove not only to coaches, but to themselves that they can be better, faster, and stronger than yesterday.
So that's obviously just talking about the phase one of the Brazilian academies that are being built down there. But this is what's going on. This is what the marketplace looks like. You go into the back office there and you see all of our players. They're up there on as players, and you can click on them and you can find all of the information about that player. You know how all his stats, and I'm going to cover that in just a second. But this is where you know, we can make money with each of our players. Every time that they progress, they will be, whenever they're transferred to a better team, first of all, they make better money, but secondly, there's a financial transaction, and we as founders share in the commissions for that. Obviously, Blockchain Sports makes money. We as founders make money, and we make commissions every time those shares are bought and sold by Joe Public. when they're buying all the shares in the players. Every time there's a little transaction that takes place, we make that money as well. And there'll be millions of those transactions buying and selling shares in each of these players. You know, when you think that one player has 1,000 shares, we'll have 10,000 players. You know, that's a lot of players, and there's obviously all Joe Public out there buying and selling those players. And again, as I mentioned, there's these micro shares. They're actually called NFTs. It doesn't matter what that means. It actually stands for non-fungible token. But basically what it is a digital contract. And I know I've gone into an area here which maybe you do or you don't understand, which is why I like to use the analogy. Each of the players will be divided up into 100 shares, and Joe Public can go and buy 1, 2, 10, 20 of those shares and buy and sell them on that marketplace I kind of hinted at just a second ago. So there's a lot of money to be made there. So how do we know that we're going to find the best players in the world? Well, first of all, that we're going to find the players at all. There'll be players up in the hills in Honduras, in the inner cities in London or in Moscow or in New York. How do we find the players? How do we know that we're going to find the best players? And how do we know that we're going to give them the best training to make them the professionals that we thought? That's because of the third part of the ecosystem. And you may have seen videos on this. This is called Inner Athlete. This is another part of the ecosystem. And basically what this is, it's headed up by Dr. Eric Naputi. He's a world-renowned specialist in sports medicine. And he created the Inner Athlete technology. It uses cutting-edge technology to not only measure the DNA of the players, but also the players get brain scans as well. And so when we take on our players, when we're scouting, we know so much more about the players than just watching them run around the field. We know their digital, or sorry, their DNA blueprint. And so we know that they're the best players in the world. How fast they can run can be measured from their DNA. How well they can catch a ball can be measured from their DNA. Their spatial recognition can be measured from their DNA. So when we're scouting, we'll know so much about that. And I'm just going to let Dr.
Inner Athlete really is the
that.
culmination of 20 plus years of sports medicine, nutrition, blood testing, functional medicine, functional neurology, sports psychology, helping athletes and humans have peak performance. We've been able to take all these pieces that have been successful and put them into one system. And this system is, I don't know how to say this other than this is like one of those moments in the health and wellness space where there's huge elevations. Like, you know, one of the biggest things that was huge in healthcare was the invention of penicillin. That was such an enormous, you know, leap and bound, right? The inventions of mRNA technology, the inventions of certain things that literally changed the way that people perceived and received healthcare and how it elevated and expanded our human potential. Inner Athlete is one of those platforms. Really, it's the premier technology in the sports and human performance arena, and it utilizes 4 core aspects. Number one, we do something called nutrigenomics, where we can actually measure your genetics, your own individual blueprint and DNA. And we can tell from that blueprint and DNA how you should sleep, what you should eat, what nutritional products are most important for you to have. It tells you your risk for injuries. It tells you your muscle twitch fibers, if you'd be a better goalie than a better striker. Then, I mean, it tells you so much about you. It's literally a blueprint about you. And we can individualize coaching, training, everything. The second component is we actually have a biomarker test where we can do a simple finger prick blood test, and it shows what vitamin deficiencies, hormone deficiencies, their risk of inflammation, their risk of injury, to improve peak performance. And again, to reduce the risk of injury. The third component of Inner Athlete, it's our S2 cognitive exam, which measures the used to be unmeasurable. They talk about if you're a 5'2" athlete, you can run, you can jump, you can all those things. But there's 6, 7, and 8 different tools that used to be unmeasurable that are now measurable. Like if you hear somebody say that athlete has eyes in the back of their head, well, that's called spatial recognition. We can measure that now. This athlete has drive for the game. We can measure that now. We literally, through our what we call our MAP system, which through Inner Athlete, we measure mentality, athleticism, and purpose. If you can measure something, you can manage it, right? And from an athletic standpoint, that's literally a game changer. The United States Football League, American football, used just the S2 cognitive test. Prior to that test, the general manager said that they got their contracts wrong 55% of the time when choosing athletes to be professionals. I mean, think about this. There's 100 years of sports science, and they failed 55% of the time. We put just our S2 cognitive test and into the NFL scouting program. It went from 55% failure to 17% failure. And if anybody can think about how big of a deal that is from a monetizable standpoint, just that S2 cognitive literally is saving tens of millions of dollars per team per year just in the National Football League. We've brought that now to soccer as a whole, which is why our door's getting beat down by so many big players in the soccer world. And I can't get too deep into it, but let's just say FIFA is extremely excited about what we're doing, and they cannot wait to partner with us on some of these levels. The fourth component of InterAthlete, the proprietary AI algorithm. Now, we know that if we take all of these data points and we put it into our proprietary AI, the same AI that the Department of Defense was using in the United States of America, the highest level of AI that's out there to make the most premier scouting platform, which in itself is huge, to make the best sports performance program, which is huge, and to reduce the risk of injuries of an athlete is a game changer. Now, if we went from 55% failure to 17% failure with just the brain cognitive test, and now we add the nutrigenomics, the biomarker blood testing, and now we add the AI, we believe with our calculations, we're going to be able to be below 5% failure rate. And think about what that's going to do for blockchain sports as a whole. If we can increase the value of the NFT, the value of the players, the value of the teams that we're working with, it's a game changer.
So again, what's important about that is this ecosystem is what's important. It's about each individual part is a money generating opportunity, but the fact that they're working together make them work. It's kind of like if you're wearing a necklace and you have all the, one chain link is missing, the necklace is useless. And it's because we have this ecosystem that's what's making this work. But I just want to touch on how we can make some money out of just this part of the technology. We make money out of the academies. We make money out of the players. We make money out of InterAthlete. Let's just cover that real quick. First of all, from what InterAthlete does for our own players. I said, we're going to find and we're going to then scout the best players. Well, this is how. Is because we can measure their DNA. We can look at their DNA footprint and make sure that we pick the best players. And obviously, if we pick the best players, their value to Joe Public is that much higher. Okay, their value if they eventually go professional, where Manchester United buys them or FC Milan buys them, that's where, again, Joe Public makes a lot of money because they own NFTs in the player or shares in the player, but so do we. But here's what's really important is our InterAthlete technology is not going to be just for us. We're going to be using it for all of the professional teams out there as well. Now, some of the teams will adopt this slowly. Some of them will adopt it quickly. It's just like with Uber. When Uber first started, there were fights in the street between the cab drivers and the Uber drivers, right? And now cab drivers have a phone in their car. So if they don't have a ride for a cab, they'll switch on the Uber app and they'll use that. That's what's going to be happening here. We are licensing. We have 91 patents in the InterAthlete program, and we are going to be licensing. We're already licensing this technology to make sure that all sports, or specifically football here, have successful scouting. And again, we're not talking about just football. We're talking about, obviously, you've got your American football there, and you've got baseball, basketball, tennis, hockey, Formula One racing, cricket, which is good for us, Brits, golf, UFC fighting, you name it. This InterAthlete technology is relevant to all of these sports, and we will be licensing that opportunity to those sports, and royalties will be charged. And as founders, we make money out of those royalties. So I just wanted to kind of touch on that. These are some of the college teams and professional teams in the US that are already using InterAthlete. Okay, it's not a very good screenshot, but you should be able to see all the logos that are there. They're already using InterAthlete. We're already generating royalties. from this part of the ecosystem. So pretty exciting. Again, 50% of the royalties come to us, come to the founders, and those royalties are paid to us quarterly. So every 3 months we get paid on that, whilst we're sitting being a mum, being a grandma, in our jobs, doing whatever we're doing. Again, we're passive. That's all being done for us. Okay, so let's move on to the fourth part of the ecosystem here. And this is a really big one. Now we're moving into kind of like the real high tech here. The fourth element of our ecosystem is called Blockchain Sports XR. And XR stands for Extended Reality. And this sector of the ecosystem alone is responsible for 5 timesing the value of our of blockchain sports. Remember the timeline, this was launched to us, the potential founders, in February. Our valuation from the #1 patent attorney company in the world, their patent attorney company and valuation company, they valued blockchain sports at $1.0435 billion. Already a $1 billion company 6 months before the launch. Now, this blockchain sports XR technology, 5 times that. So 10 weeks later, our valuation was $5.1 billion. 3 months before we've even launched. And the reason why this is this XR technology is taking us into a whole new world, and specifically something called the metaverse. You may or may not have heard of that, but basically here's a clue. Facebook have changed their name to Meta. And that's because there's going to be this whole like digital dimension. So instead of us looking at each other on cameras, we can put on these little goggles and we'll all be in the same room together. This is the world where this is going, and Blockchain Sports is the first company with this technology taking football and all sports into that metaverse arena. And part of that is going to be something called wearable AI. So the shirts will be wearable AI. The cleats will be wearable AI. The ball will be wearable AI. So that when people are watching a football game, they can be watching the game from the goalkeeper's perspective, from the right field's perspective, from the player that you own's perspective. Also, because of the wearable AI, not only are the players wearing it, but also the spectators. So if they want to really get into the game, they can feel the ball hit their chest. They can feel a tackle. They can feel the rain. This is a full experiential thing, and where spectatorship is going. I know it seems weird and wacky, but again, it's like one of these things when you're watching a Star Trek movie, you think, that's ridiculous. And next thing we see it, out on the street in modern times here. So that XR technology is incredible. It's taking us into video games. It's taking us into metaverse, et cetera, et cetera. And again, this technology is going to be licensed. And 50% of those royalties, if you have the qualifying founders pack, comes to us. Okay, so it's very, very big. And again, that part alone has valued the company at $5.1 billion. This is what some of the wearables look like. These are kind of prototypes for right now, but that kind of gives you an idea of how it's going to work. And what's kind of interesting is as part of the scouting, remember we were looking for the best players that are out there. Well, we've got the science technology to look at the DNA. But what this technology does is when we're scouting our players, when they're wearing AI on their back and on their front, in their boots, on the ball, we can see how the player moves around the field. We can see his heart rate. We can see his blood pressure. We can see inflammation. We can see all of this stuff whilst people are being scouted. So no longer you're relying on that talented scout sitting in the bleachers watching the players. Now that they can still do that, they can also then check their DNA biomarkers, and they can also use this AI technology. This is how we are going to find the best players in the world. We're going to select the best players in the world, and we're going to turn them into the best players in the world. So that's how I was kind of justifying how we're going to find the best players. So again, the licensing opportunity will make money from the royalties. And again, this valued the company 5 times higher than we were before. Let's look at this. This part of the ecosystem here is TV. Already Netflix, HBO, and a number of TV companies are going to be making TV shows about what's going on here. Plus, blockchain sports is going to become a logo that you see on the sports channels because of all the stats and everything, because of the professional teams adopting this blockchain sports. Just like you see an ESPN logo, you'll see a blockchain sports logo. And this will kind of give you an idea of what we're talking about. These are some of the shows that are being made. The big game up there, top right, is the one that's being made by Netflix. There's a number of different shows all being made. The reality shows are going to be a yearly thing, like Survivor, has new people each year. It'll be the same thing here. There'll be new players coming on, and they'll be following those players to their next level. But here's a quick idea. That's just some of the filming that's going on, but that kind of gives you an idea. We've just looked at 5 parts of the ecosystem, and each part of them are multi-billion-dollar businesses, but they're all part of blockchain sports. Now, what I've shown you so far is kind of like the real life stuff. Oh, I should say, by the way, again, if you have the right founders pack, all that TV stuff that's going on is generating TV rights, advertising fees, sponsorship, events. 50% of those come to us as the founders. Okay, so again, we're making money out of all of these parts of the ecosystem. But I want to talk about now the technical side, and I'm going to kind of venture into a little bit of maybe some areas where you're not fully understanding what we're talking about here. But I talked earlier on about blockchain, and you may or may not know what blockchain is, but it's kind of like the internet, and it's where cryptocurrency sits. It's a big huge digital ledger that basically, that's where Bitcoin sits. It's where Ethereum sits. It's where all of those cryptocurrencies sit. And we own our own blockchain. And that's very important. The reason why is because we obviously want to make sure that everything that we're doing runs efficiently as possible. And the way to do that is to have what's called a layer 1 blockchain. They are very, very rare. There's between 5 and 10 of them on the whole of the internet. There are hundreds and hundreds of layer 2s and 3s and this type of thing. The analogy is like layer 1 blockchain is like the I-35 going from north to south on the US, and all of the other blockchains, the smaller ones, are all the little side roads. The quick route to get from north to south is just take the I-35. And what's great about this, because we're building a layer 1 blockchain, not only is it good for us, blockchain sports, but we will be copied. Uber was copied, Airbnb is copied, Spotify is copied, Netflix is copied, right? Everybody copies these things, but none of them will have their own blockchain. So when the competition comes along, they will automatically use our blockchain. So this big I-35 highway that's going up from north to south, everybody's on it. But what's great is we, the founders, own the toll booths on the blockchain. So when all of the transactions that are happening with people buying and selling the shares in our players, when other professional teams tokenize their players, all of those transactions, all of those, all the time that's happening, the fees that are generated from that, just like when you swipe a credit card, 2% goes to Visa or 2% goes to MasterCard. Well, when you do a transaction on the blockchain, same thing. Those fees come to the people who own the nodes, and the people who own the nodes are us. We own the nodes. That's like the credit card machine. When the credit card swipes through the credit card and the commission goes to American Express, the node is the blockchain equivalent of that. So when people are buying and selling the NFTs, or they're using the blockchain in whatever way, Every transaction goes through the nodes, and we, the founders, are the exclusive owners of the nodes. You'll also see their Athleta coin, and again, I know I'm in kind of like dangerous territory here, but basically, what the Athleta coin is it's the currency that you need to own if you want to buy and sell our players, if you want to buy and sell the professional players. Okay, it's like if we all want to go to Mexico to go on vacation, if we want to buy stuff in Mexico, we've got to own pesos. Okay, this is the same thing. If people want to participate in what's going on here, they need to own the local currency, which is the Atla coin. And here's what's important. Those nodes that I was telling you about, you're going to grow to love nodes, because nodes actually have two jobs. Not only do they are they the transaction where people are, whenever they're doing a transaction, we earn the commissions on that. They also are responsible for minting the Atla token, or printing money like the Fed does. The Federal Reserve prints money. The nodes create the Atla currency. And who owns the nodes? We do. And there's lots and lots of money to be made there. So let's have a quick look at what some of the nodes do here. This is gonna, hold on, before I play that. This is gonna kind of show you the marketplace where people are gonna be buying and selling our players.
The top players of the Academy will be digitized in a form of digital ID. How is it done? There are trackers installed on the player to collect data of his physical performance to analyze the progress. Blockchain Sports uses computer vision and camera AI to make the analyze. AI cameras installed on the field capture each player's performance in real time, with all unique data stored on the blockchain. Players' digital IDs are placed on the platform, where they are presented with detailed information, including metric data, statistics, their achievements, and career progression. Football fans can both monitor the progress of their favorite athletes and buy the share of the player's digital ID. As a result, the fans become co-owners and partners of Blockchain Sports' ecosystem, and they have the opportunity to earn a share of the income if the player's football career is successful.
Okay, so that kind of gives you an idea of kind of how that works. But as I say, when the general public are buying and selling those players, we're earning on that because of the transaction fees. So there you go. There's the analogy. Just like there's a credit card being charged there, the nodes do the same thing, and any commissions are made by the owners of the nodes. So here's the thing that's important. I've talked about only really our players being bought and sold by general public. Well, again, the professional players will be participating there as well. So again, people can go on and buy shares in their favorite players. But here's where I think the most amount of money is going to be made. And that's all the individuals, the high school kids that think they're going to be a professional player, right? Obviously, the people that join our academies are going to have a very high chance of becoming professional. Those who are already professional, they're already professional. But there are millions and millions of high school athletes out there in soccer, in hockey, in tennis, in UFC fighting, whatever it is, who aren't in the academies or who haven't been picked by a college. They can tokenize or digitize themselves. They can go to our marketplace and say, you know what, I think I'm going to be a professional athlete. And he can tokenize himself. And then his grandma will buy some NFTs, his mom and dad will, the local high school will be buying NFTs in these players. And they can fund themselves to go towards becoming a professional athlete. Now, out of 10,000 high school players, maybe one becomes a professional. But 9,999 that aren't going to do it, they're still going to tokenize themselves. They're still going to be selling NFTs or shares in themselves. And who makes the money out of those transaction fees? We do. This is where I think most of the money is going to be, because there are millions of school kids out there with families and friends and high schools that we're buying and selling NFTs in them in all sports, not just football. So I think that's going to be very exciting as far as the money-making opportunity is concerned. It's literally going to be like the stock market. But instead of people buying and selling shares in NVIDIA or in Apple or in whatever, they're going to be buying and selling in sports people. It will also move into the music world as well. Musicians will be able to digitize themselves. That's down the line. I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit there. But again, I just want to, we're coming to the end now. So I know I've kind of blasted you a little bit here, but I wanted to show you the nodes and the Atla coins, because this is the only part of the presentation where I can kind of give you an idea of how much money you can make. Before I was just showing you, well, you can make a share in the royalties, make a share in the royalties, et cetera, et cetera. This is where it's a lot more quantifiable. So the nodes mint the Athleta coin. And again, it's short. The short version for Athleta is Atla. They make them. The nodes make them just like the Federal Reserve print money. And each node will mint 50.8 Atla per month. That's just their job. That's just what they're going to do. And their projected value, and I'll say it again, projected value of the Atla token Q4 this year, based upon our valuation, based upon all of the other technologies that are behind us, is expected to be $5.50. So we can do a little bit of math here. If you get, there are various founders packs that you can own, and based on which founders pack you own governs how many nodes you own. Founders pack 1 is 1 node. Founders pack 2, 4 nodes. So let's do a little bit of the maths on that. Let's say you have a Founders Pack 1. The Founders Pack 1, by the way, is $750. That means you're going to contribute $750 to the crowd fund, and you'll become a founder. You'll get shares in various things, but you'll get 1 node. That 1 node that you own will mint 50.8 Atla per month, and at $5.50, that means you will earn you'll mint $275 worth of Atla tokens per month. And those Atla tokens or Atla coins can be turned back into fiat currency, dollars or pounds or pesos, easily. Cryptocurrency does that kind of thing all the time. So you own 1 node, and it's cost you maybe, you've got to contribute $750. You're making $275. Within 3 months, you've got your money back. And this is just one part of the money-making opportunity. That's Founders Pack 1. Founders Pack 2 is 4 nodes that at the same math, that's $1,100 a month. 4 nodes, 200 Atla at $5.50, $1,100 a month. Now, Founders Pack 2, I think, is $2,600. So you can see in 2-3 months, you've got your money back again. And you're still, even though you got your money back, you're still making money from everything in the ecosystem. Founders Pack 4 is a little bit more expensive. It's $10,600, but you get 16 nodes, and that's generating $4,400 worth of Atla tokens for you every month. Founders Pack 4 is 50 nodes. That gets you qualified also to earn 100% in the inner athlete technology. But that's also going to get you 13,750 a month in Atla tokens that are being created for you. Founders Pack 5, 100 nodes, 27,500. Now, Founders Pack 5 is $65,000. It's a lot of money, but when you're making 27,500 projected per month, it doesn't take you very long to get that money back. Founders Pack 6 is 200 nodes, $130,000. So it's not for the faint of heart, but you're making $55,000 in Atla tokens per month projected. So that kind of gives you a quantifiable idea of what you can make from just the nodes. And again, you can see on here, that's just one small part of all of that ecosystem that you're making money out of. And again, remember, I'm only showing you 7 parts of the ecosystem. There's actually 24 parts, and it's ever growing. And we make money out of all of those because we are founders. We're just like those sharks, and we decide, do we want to be participating in this or not? If you do, it's passive income. I mean, it is absolutely a massive international project. It's being run by Dmitry Saxonov. He's a young man. He's a Steve Jobs. He has a vision like you can't even imagine. When you speak to this guy, to be able to envision all of sports disrupting like this, he's quite amazing. He's got a 1,000 programmers helping him build that blockchain. But here's what's also important. How are we going to find those players in the villages, in the mountains, in the inner city? It's because we have hundreds of top world-class football players. As you can see here, many of them are past their football playing age, but there's one guy there, Romario. He's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from the left. front row, kind of a shorter guy. He played for the Brazilian World Cup team that won that year. He has 72 million kids following him. And so September the 1st, our hundreds of soccer athletes will go to town on their social media, and every one of our ambassadors will hit all of their social media people, and we will be hitting millions and millions of kids. They'll be hearing all about blockchain sports and coming to the academies, or we'll be reaching the Joe public who want to buy the NFTs in the blockchain sports players, or their high school kid wants to tokenize themselves. The soccer players are enormous for our marketing opportunity. Also, we have governments from around the world who are backing what we're doing here. They're donating soccer fields to us. The UAE, top left there, we are going to, they're putting $1 trillion into football because they want to be as good as the European teams. And we are their blockchain technology. Everything they're doing over there, which is huge. I mean, this is not just a little project with, Dimitri and his brother doing from mum's basement. This is, there are thousands of employees already, and we can be founders in that. I talked about valuation. You might recognize that image, Michael. We are a unicorn company because on February the 21st, when it was launched to us, there's the valuation certificate, 1,434,000 valuation based on all of our patents and based on all of our technology. That was February the 21st. 10 weeks later, because of that blockchain sports XR technology, remember the metaverse technology took our valuation. Why is that hidden? That's weird. Hold on a second. I want to pull that out. There's here we go. Valuation, you can see there, 5,100,000 10 weeks later. That was 9 weeks later because of that XR technology. So that's the value of what we've got right now. This is the guy who owns the Sanjara Institute. And that's it. We have the opportunity to be founders in the biggest industry disruption ever. It's already valued at $5 billion. We have hundreds of professional soccer players. We have governments, presidents, prime ministers, royalty backing us up. We have revenue that we can earn from all of those real life technologies, from inner athlete, from the buying and selling of players, from XR technology. We get royalties from the sports medicine technology, the XR and metaverse technology. We get money from the TV rights, from the Netflix shows, from the sponsorships, events, and advertising. And all the digital revenue you just saw goes to the node owners. We own the nodes. So all of the digital earnings you can make on there are coming to the node owners, which is us. And again, this is just part of that ecosystem. When this closes on August the 16th, you'll continue to make money from blockchain sports. But if you want, you can then move to the next project that we have, which will be equally big, and then the next one, and then the next one. So you're participating not only in blockchain sports, but every project that we do. And that's pretty exciting. And again, just to refer back to these companies, we were not invited to become founders in these companies, right? And if we'd invested $1,000, $10,000 in any one of these companies, we would not be on this call right now. We'd be sitting on a beach somewhere with a mansion behind us because of the amount of money. But you have been invited here. You have been invited to blockchain sports. You're part of Limitless. And so the opportunity is absolutely there. Basically, have a look. First of all, if it makes sense to you, great. If it doesn't, no problem. At least you're a little wiser. If it does make sense to you, then the only decision you've got is which founders pack makes sense to me.